Hey guys, and welcome to a new video on this channel. Today's video is going to be different from the other videos. I've been doing hauls and get ready with me and stuff like that. But today I'm actually going to be talking about a book because I was really, I just finished reading it literally yesterday. And I was like, why not talk about it? I want to leave a very big disclaimer to, booktube, if that is how you say it, to like the communities, like reviews books on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm not a professional critic. I'm not a professional book reviewer. I just, bought the book and I wanted to talk about it because, I want to talk about like my experience reading it and like interesting things that the actual book contains, because today I'm going to be talking about You Will Get Through This Night, which was written by Daniel Howell. I've liked and followed Dan and Phil for a very long time. Before the curls, when they still had, the emo hair, both of them. And I was there when they first started like the gaming channel and stuff like that. Those are like the kind of like landmarks that I remember. I'm not very good at like keeping track and like dates and stuff like that, but I do remember when they first announced their gaming channel. When I watched the first video, I still miss that goddamn channel, so I was very excited when Dan announced that he was gonna publish a book. I was like super excited, and when he mentioned that it was going to be like what it says here is like a practical mental health guide, so that's what I'm gonna call it. When he mentioned that it was going to be something like that, I was super excited because that's not what you usually see coming from YouTubers. So I was excited to read it. I pre-ordered it back in September, I'm pretty sure. I'll put up the email that says that I ordered from there. And I actually realized a little bit later that I actually pre-ordered the signed version. I didn't even know until I received the email. I just like swiped up on the story that Dan had put up and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pre-order the book, and then it said that like you can sign them with the bookmark. So I was actually super extra happy about that. It cost me around, I think, 30 something euros, including shipping, so I'm actually not that upset. Shipping is pretty expensive to Portugal for some reason, so I'm happy about it. And then it's also like it's not like a soft cover, like a hardcover, so I really like these types of books. It's like shipped on the 14th. The book came out on the 18th, but it shipped 4 days before. I'm assuming it was to make sure that I was going to receive it like either on the day of the release or a couple days after. I ended up having to receive it a couple days after because there was some problem with like my address. I live in the middle of nowhere. It's hard for like the mailman to get here, so I received it on the 21st or on the 22nd, because I had to go get it on the 22nd. And then I started reading it a little bit after. I started reading a little bit after, and I only finished yesterday, which is the 17th of June, which was a little bit less than a month. I had some days where I didn't even touch it. I wasn't in the mood to read it, so I just didn't read it. So that's why I only finished yesterday. I don't take this long to finish books usually, I promise. It's just that if I wasn't in the mood, I wasn't gonna read it. Talking about like the actual contents of the book, that's how I'm gonna like separate this. I'm gonna talk about the contents of the book, and then I'm gonna talk about like, I have little marks right here because these are the things that I found interesting and that I want to talk about, and that I really like that it was mentioned in the book, because there's a lot of like professional like terms and stuff like that I haven't heard. Obviously, English is my second language, so there's a lot of terms that I'm listening in Portuguese but I never really searched about in English. So I'm happy that it's talked about in this book and that I could get to know more about it here. There's also some like exercises that I have done and that I want to talk about as well, because I found it so interesting that it worked. I was like, I don't know why. I was expecting it not to work, but it did, so it was amusing for me. So yeah, this book is divided into 3 parts. This night, tomorrow, and the days after that. This night is basically talking about, what you can do to help yourself right now in the immediate moment. and then tomorrow it's what you can do to make your tomorrow like a little bit better, and then the days after that is the practices you can do to help your life in the future. So yeah, it says here, like, I'll put it on screen, I'll like digitalize that and put it on screen so you guys can see it. So part 1 this night is divided into 3 parts, which is breathing, finding calm, grounding back to the present, and mindfulness, breaking it down. Then part 2 tomorrow is divided into activity, environment, sleep, food, movement, social life. And then the days after that is divided into thoughts, what am I thinking, rules and regulations, stress, less stress, trauma, elephants and skeletons, therapy and medication, leave it to the pros, emotions, working with emotions, setbacks, dealing with setbacks, authenticity, living your truth, I can speak, gratitude, attitude of gratitude, and then the epilogue. So we can get right to it. There's an introduction. Also, I might as well talk about it now, but this book was reviewed by like an actual like psychologist. It wasn't just written by Dan and then hoping for the best, hoping he was right. It was actually, you know, it has like all the information over here about the psychologist he consulted. I'm gonna talk about the little things that I have because that's what I want to talk about. The first one that I actually found interesting about in the book was in the beginning parts. It wasn't on part 1, part 2, part 3. It was on the beginning parts on page 41. The title is Horrible Helpful Feelings, and I was really interested because it's talking about run, fight or freeze, like flight, fight or freeze. And if you know from my other channel, TXT, which is a K-pop group, actually talked about it. So I found it very interesting that a lot of things in my life were talking about it at the same time. I've heard the expression like fight or flight before, so I knew like the general idea of it, but it was good to hear it like in a professional way, like to see it written and explained in a professional way. And obviously fight or freeze. I never encountered that expression before. I like actually reacted to the comeback, to the TXT comeback, where they also had that there as well. So I had to search about it to find out. And I also found out that there's a fourth one, which is fawn. I had no idea what that was before, but I actually ended up searching a little bit about it. Fight, flight, or like a deer in a headlight, just fright. Our brain might not instantly know how we want to solve a situation, so it just hits the alarm bell, setting off a series of emotional and physical responses, so we're ready for anything. And then he uses like metaphors a lot in the book, which I really appreciate. He also integrates like some of his own stories in it, and like the book, even though it's serious, it has like funny parts in it, and that helped me a lot. I feel like if it was just a book about just seriousness, it would take me a lot more to read the book than it already did. It would feel like it's like a school book instead of, you know, just a book that you can pick up and read anytime. So I enjoy that. That's what I wanted. This is for this page. It also has like a little like a table right here that it just talks about like the symptoms and like the biological explanation of usually symptoms that you get when you're in that like fight, freeze, like racing heart, dizziness, tight chest, short of breath, trembling or shaking, tunnel vision. Next one, I just put this one here because once again I found it interesting. I never read about it, so reading about it for the first time was very amusing for me for someone to explain what these words actually mean, because I've heard them before, I just didn't know like the actual scientific explanation of them. So in here it talks about out-of-body experiences, and I like underlines and I highlighted words like disassociation, derealization, depersonalization. Big words are hard for me, okay, I'm sorry. And it also talks about psychosis, which was again words that I've always heard, but I never really knew what they meant. So, and then on the side I also highlighted this one that I called up about intrusive thoughts. I've heard that word, but I never really knew what they meant. So once again, happy that it's explained. Next one that I made sure to remember, oh yeah, this one is already in part 1, which is this night, and in this part it shares a lot about methods of helping you like get better immediately. Right before this one that I'm about to talk about, it talks about the 5 4 3 2 1, which I have heard before. So when I like saw it here, I was like, oh my god, I do know about this. It's basically when you're having, I think, like a panic attack. You can help yourself by doing the 5 4 3 2 1. You acknowledge 5 things you see around you, then you acknowledge 4 things you can touch, acknowledge 3 things you can hear, acknowledge 2 things you can smell, and acknowledge 1 thing you can taste. I've heard about that before, so I wasn't really surprised to see it here, and actually knew a little bit about it. What I was surprised about was the one that it's next to it, which is called progressive muscle relaxation, and I actually tried it and it worked, and I was so surprised that it worked. I don't know why I was so surprised that it did, but I was. For anybody that doesn't know, I mean, not that everybody needs to know, but beginning of May my father passed away, and for a while I wasn't really feeling any like physical feelings of that trauma. I'm gonna call it trauma because it was traumatic. Not good. So I wasn't really feeling any feelings of that because I had school, so I was occupied with school. I still had some classes and I had a lot of exams to like do, and I had deadlines, so I was focusing on that. But then as soon as that ended, my brain was like, fuck, like this is bad. And this has never happened because like I've been anxious for, I'm not gonna say I've had anxiety because I'm not diagnosed, but I've been in like anxious situations before, like really bad. I hate driving, so every time I would get into my car, I would like, it was bad. I would have this horrible feeling like in my stomach. I felt like I was dizzy. I felt like I wanted to vomit every single time I even thought about getting in my car. So like I've experienced those feelings before, and you know, they were never that bad. And then I experienced the ones that I experienced after I stopped having something to focus on, and it was horrible. Like my muscles hurt. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just like have to stand there and wait for me to fall asleep again. I had really bad like muscle pain, especially in here. I still have a little bit, but especially like in my shoulders and in my neck area, and like my back hurts so bad. I genuinely thought for a while that I was dying because I was like, this isn't normal, this has never happened before, why is this happening? But I was so scared because a lot of physical things were happening to me that I wasn't used to, like that has never happened to that extreme. Like obviously, like I said, the little butterflies in your stomach when I was anxious about getting my car was normal for me, like I was used to that, but getting actually like physical pains, so that was a new experience for me. So this one about like progressive muscle relaxation, it's basically like you focusing, you like tensing a part of your body and then breathing in, and then relaxing that part of your body and breathing out, and that helped me so bad. I remember I was reading, it helped me so like, I remember I was reading this in bed and I was like, I was super tense, all my body hurts. I was like, let's see if it works. So I read this, I lay down and I did it, and I legit, when I stopped, I was like, oh, I was ready to, like it didn't hurt anymore. Nothing on my body hurt anymore, and I was ready to fall asleep, and I was like, it actually worked. I was so, so I'm gonna take this with me forever, like every single time, like, oh my god, I was just so happy that it actually worked. It was mind-blowing for me at the time, because I thought I just had to deal with it and it would go away. So think that these little things actually hurt. So like I said, I'm gonna leave them on the screen, so I'm not gonna read it all out or else we're gonna be here all day, because oh my god, is it big. So this worked, super happy. Sarah was super happy. I was so excited that it worked. So yeah. The next one is on page 183, and it's on part 2, which is about your friends and your circle of friends and how they make you feel. It's the part about your social life, and it has the little circle, which is about like your closest friends, your casual friends, and your acquaintances. And this whole part just talks about basically if for you to assess the people in your life, like who in your life is making you happy, who in your life is making you stressed, and basically telling you that if there's anyone in your life that you feel stressed with, to like take them out of your life. No, don't kill them. Don't kill them, but basically, you know, take them out of your life bit by bit. Like if you used to go out with them like five days of the week, maybe it's just like refuse going out with them like a couple times. Don't always be with them if you don't like their company. It's basically just that, you know, good advice that everybody should follow, and that should be common sense, but a lot of people don't do because they feel bad. Don't feel bad about taking bad people out of your life. And also, just because they're bad to you doesn't mean they're bad people in general. Some people aren't just meant to be friends, and that's perfectly fine. I just want to read this part about like it's perfectly normal for relationships in your life to grow and change. A lot happens in life, and our circumstances and personalities inevitably change. That worry hard with it. If you grow in different directions from someone who's always been a part of your life, that's okay. They might move down, change their jobs, get whisked away in a new relationship, and all these things can influence whatever bond you had with that person. If you find yourself evolving past the people in your life, it's normal for your relationship with them to change and to find new people or become closer to the ones you relate to now. And I really like that part. This is the kind of like advice that I feel like everybody should, you know, have in their lives. It's really good and it's really true. So yeah, this part also talked a lot about your relationship with your friends. Like some people have a lot of negative thoughts when it comes to their friendships, about how they never want to like vent to their friends because you think you're like annoying them, or they don't want to listen to you when they hate you. I've had a lot of those feelings previously where I hated to talk out to my friends about things because I thought that I was just purely annoying them. So I would make friends online just to talk about those very specific things because I thought that my actual friends, like my real life friends, didn't want to listen to it. And it talks a lot about that, and now you can come to terms with your feelings when it comes to your friends. First, I want to talk about another one, which is on page 198, which talks about social anxiety, which is something that I also have. I mean, I'm not diagnosed, but you know, I hate talking to people. And I wanted to talk about this very specific part that I thought was very good, and a lot of people should probably listen to it. It's okay to enjoy relating to others' socially inept moments, but we should never glamorize or celebrate real anxiety. So, and then this is not part, the next part. About, you know, social media, and this one, like the title of this page is Safely Behind the Screen, page 202, that says psychological studies have shown that all of us, given the power of anonymity and immunity, are more likely to indulge in harmful behaviors in an attempt to make ourselves momentarily feel better. This sucks so much, but it's true. The amount of times that I've gone online and I see someone with a really like bad opinion, and I'm like, and I just sit there, I write this whole comment about how stupid they are, and then I go back and I delete all of it because I'm like, is it really worth it? Was that comment really worth it? Not really. And oh yeah, oh my god, this part was really good. I really like everything about like this one. It's the title, there's multiple like subtitles. Subtitles are mind reading, catastrophizing, all or nothing thinking, and mental filtering. This part was so good, and I enjoyed reading these pages very much. This one about mind reading, I put a little like note here because he put like a Portuguese name in it, and I wouldn't think it's a Portuguese name unless it had like the little thing, but it has a little thing, and I was really surprised that it was in it because, first of all, usually people don't put Portuguese names as like examples in English books, fully in English books, and that's the thing, like I pre-ordered this, so it's not like this is like a edition that came specially to Portugal. Like, no, this is the edition. This is like the first edition. It says right here, And I was super surprised because I was like, that's the thing, it has the little like o acento. You guys don't know that because you don't speak Portuguese, but like the o tio, oh, that's such a very specific Portuguese thing. I read this part, I think not yesterday but the day before, and I was having like a brain blast. I stopped and I took a picture and I sent it to my friend because I was like, this never happens. So I was super happy that somehow a Portuguese name got in here in like an example. Okay, so hey guys, I want to leave this little like intervention here because this video is very like heavily edited, like in the sense of I took out a lot of parts in this video because like the footage was more than an hour, and I know usually like book reviews or like people talking about books videos are that long, but my internet can't really take that, so I took a lot of parts out, and now I'm just gonna talk about like the last thing I wanted to talk about. So I skipped around a bunch. That's why you don't see me talking a lot about other pages in the book, about most pages in the book. So yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind that. Sorry, it's just truly my internet would not be able to handle uploading a video that's 1 hour long. So hopefully you guys still like this one though. I really enjoyed making this video, and let's jump into the last part. Oh, and then the last thing that I highlighted that I want to talk about was something that left me really curious. It's on page 307 and it's about goals. If you want to see how you can live better following your values, you can set goals, actionable things that you can do to go in the right direction. I am loath to suddenly drop an academic acronym in the middle of your recreational reading, which I'm desperately trying to keep interesting and accessible, but in psychological circles there's a lot to talk about SMART goals. And then it talks about what they are. When our goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time frame, we're more likely to achieve them, and it's easier to know when we get there. And I actually like did the exercise because I was like, it has like a little example of what you should do, and it has like a written example. Like if you have a vague goal to save the whales, it might be hard to know where to begin. If you follow the SMART guide, you can break it down. What about getting a degree in marine biology? That's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant to whale saving, and it's time framed, which means it's tangible. Go through which part of SMART, considering if your plan is practical, makes you feel confident, and is in line with your values. And then it says, if you feel like you aren't living authentically enough according to your values, try to write down some goals, as vague as they might be, for how you'd like to live your life. Then break them down to make them actionable and real. And then he has like the little thing to explain how to, like the actual example to explain how to do it, which I didn't do it. The example that it has on here is like the goal is be more sociable, and then the SMART goal is meet 3 friends for coffee this month, and then goal is help more at home. SMART goal, cook for my family twice a week, progress my career. SMART goal, update my CV and send it out to at least 5 people. And I actually really think this is very useful, especially the acronym, the SMART acronym. Sometimes I'm very guilty of just writing down like, oh, I want to do this, but then I never make it specific enough, so I always get lazy and never actually do it, which sucks. So I actually wrote down my own goals. Like I said, this isn't exactly like a review because there's not much like that I can review. This isn't like a story or anything of the sort that I can just be like, oh, I didn't like the story. This is a very good book. I really did truly enjoy, and like I said, it was very, sorry for the dog, too many things are interrupting me today. Like I was saying, it was a really good book to read because it taught me a lot about you know, those specific terms that I had no idea about before until I read the book. So I'm happy that I did, and obviously there's a lot more that I didn't talk about, because if I were to talk about every single page, this video would be even bigger than what it already is. I just wanted to mention like the parts that I highlighted and that I was personally really interested in, because it talked about things that I've either heard before or that I've never heard before, but that made me understand myself a little bit better. So I do recommend reading this book. In the book itself, it says that you can just like You don't have to read it like from front to back. You can just like skip around to the parts that you think you are most interested in. I personally read all of it because I was excited to read all of it, and I did enjoy it a lot. I'm super happy that I read it. It had a lot of like exercises for you to do like in your real life, and stuff that you can do and practice in your real life. And like I said, it explains a lot of like basic emotions and what you're feeling and why you're feeling it and how you can do to better yourself. It's like I said, it's really good that he puts in stories about himself in the middle, because it feels like it's an older friend that's talking to you about these things. Like you went up to your friend and asked them like, what do you think about this, and this was their response. That's what it feels like. And it's much better than just straight up a book that teaches you like the brain functions and stuff like that. This does both. Like it makes you feel welcome, and it also explains like the scientific process behind it, and I really truly enjoy it. So I would recommend you go read it. It's, if you have the chance, go. Really good, and I do love it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You can follow me on my social media. You can leave your opinions in the comments, like, have you read this book? Do you like the book? Do you not like the book? And if you don't like it, why? I've already said multiple times, personally I love the book. And yeah, what's your favorite part about it? Like, did you learn something new with this? Because I definitely did. And you can like the video if you like the video. You can subscribe if you want to see more of me, and I'll see you guys the next time you decide to watch one of my videos. Bye bye.